agency differs from brand to brand. What your objective is what really lays the foundation for what you're starting.
I feel this is a very diplomatic answer. Filled this board one day, you know, we got drunk, me and Naresh, everybody left. We have filled this entire board.
Oh my god.
sessions.
So what's your take on the whole AI thing?
As much as a robot can look like a human and you can feed in commands to say, oh, if this one says this, you would respond back like this. But that emotion is still fed into it. Team plus people. Like that's
Okay, you meant
the team size.
team
Yeah,
size.
I went over
I was
we're very
like
specific.
50 plus.
No,
Team
we're
size,
very nice office somewhere, CBD, Indranagar, a nice
Sticks coming
cute
into the
loft
picture.
type office. Yeah, right.
It was a big leap of faith for us because
Yeah.
we were so new, and then we were like, oh my god, are we going to be able to do this, execute it? When it comes to distance is what we have noticed.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to our first podcast. We have the co-founders of One Name Agency with us today here. They're a 360-degree marketing agency. It's Aishu and Mahima. So, Mahima, why don't you tell us what you guys do exactly? What does a 360 marketing agency mean?
Okay. So I think a little bit of backstory. So when we wanted to start our agency, our first concern is that we wanted to be like a one name for everything that you needed. So I think that's where it comes from. So whether it's social media or website or performance marketing, anything, we wanted to be one agency that the client had to reach out to and they had all the solutions provided to them. So that's how we kind of wanted to build our model, and that's where we're at now.
So, how did you guys meet? Like, how did this start? Like,
So we've been friends for almost 8 years now. 8 years, 9 years. So we met during college, in our first semester of college, and we've pretty much been best friends since then. So yeah, that's how we met.
so, but you guys should have come with like, you know, background in marketing, right? Like, I know you used to work for Amazon. Like, why don't you tell us a bit about like how that was?
Okay, so we'll go step by step, talking about our personal backgrounds and then dwell into how One Name came about.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know, I'm just asking.
Yeah. So I did my undergrad in marketing, and then I went to do my masters in Australia again with the major in marketing. Came back, then I started working for Amazon for almost a year, and then for personal reasons I quit that job, and then and then we were talking one day, and then we were like, okay, let's start this.
I think a lot of people don't know this, but she and I have had this conversation back in college that we wanted to start our own marketing agency. So, but that was just like, you know, like two innocent kids who are like, oh, I want my agency. Like there's no substance.
Yeah. It was just a fleeting
It was just
conversation,
like,
just
we would
randomly.
be chilling, we'd be like, oh my god, I don't want to work for someone. We should just start our own agency. And that's how it started back then. But with life and the way it happened, eventually, I think it took us some time to get to a point where we were like, okay, now's a good time for us to really dive into it and trust and just take that leap of faith. And that happened in 2023.
So you were in an agency before this, right?
Correct. So I worked on the client side as well. So I was in real estate, and then again marketing itself, and then I moved into an agency because I knew eventually, like I said, we were both anyway aiming at it. So I wanted to get the experience of an agency before I started my own.
You want to see it how it works?
Yeah, like obviously you want like the little tips and tricks that you would not know, like, you know, otherwise. So I worked with them for about 2 years, and then through the course of the job, then I realized like both of us had finally found that time, and we were like, okay, now dive in. So yeah, 2 years with an agency, and then that was again another 360-degree marketing agency as well. So.
Okay. So now that you both are like, you know, like One Name Agency, right? Like, so I get the whole name aspect. It's the tagline also, no? Like, what is that? One name for everything. Yeah. So, what was your like first client? Like, why don't you take us through what is your first client? I mean, there had to be some step, right? Like, you know, before.
To be honest, the first few months were quite hard in terms of like finding clients. So it was always word of mouth references, like through friends of friends or something like that. So our first client was actually a construction agency, a construction company. And after that, now we actually deal with a lot of different industries such as construction, design, real estate, hospitality, and now also
We're also working with like few dental clinics and seeing how that goes as well. So, uh, just to add to that, I think, like she said, initially for us, it was all through, word of mouth and like connections that we already had. So obviously connections that we've already had, like she has her background with, whether it was with design, architecture, and then my background with real estate. So a lot of our initial clients has been along those industries itself. So now we're trying to branch out into different industries and tap into that and see how that, kind of works out.
Okay, great. But what is your favorite something company? What's your ideal company? Ideal client, dude. Like, I mean, you should have some. No, don't tell me names, but say which industry you would want to work with. Like, I mean, obviously you come from a real estate background, and so
I'd like to work in FMCG.
FMCG. Okay, for me it's more F&B. Like I think I'd want to get into that space.
like the pubs and all of that.
Yeah, restaurants, pubs, yeah, for sure. And I think Bangalore's like the perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the right place.
Yeah. So I'm like, I really want an F&B client now.
I guess go keep drinking one day. It's like,
Yeah, let's hope it
That's my way of
let's hope it
manifestation.
actually happens. That one day we're just in a
Yeah.
bar, meet somebody, and you're like, want to do our branding? You're like, yeah.
I think it'll happen if you go to some one bar daily. You go sit there. Then you're like, your marketing is not that great.
Listen, daily if we go sit there.
So you're saying daily go there, have a drink, and then just like,
Yeah, then be like, hey, no, you know what? You need one day.
actually.
It'll work. You'll become an alcoholic.
But see, by the time we do this, I think we would have spent the 2 months retainer that they'll eventually give us. So, yeah.
Okay, fine. So we kind of get like the whole idea of you guys working and all of that. But how do you guys function? Like I know it's very small. Everyone's doing everything, but still, is there any clear differences in the way you work? Is there you try to work?
Something like our USP or like something on how we divide the work.
How you guys divide the work? I'm not talking about how the agency works. There.
Why? Okay, I'll tell you. Every day morning, so once we get ready to start the day, I will get like a checklist to do this from Mahima saying, listen, today this has to be checked out. And then we just go about the entire day. Usually we actually, sometimes we meet up and get the work done, or most of the times it's actually over Google Meet or something.
Also with both of us, I think if there is a certain aspect of it that I don't get, like if I didn't understand when we were starting out, and there's a certain aspect she didn't get at that point, I think over the first few months we somehow managed to kind of make that line so blurry. Like right now it's like whether I have to take up something creative or she has to take up something creative, we both are equally at the same level to like be able to step up and say, you know what, I've got it. So I think, like to answer your question, I think both of us somehow just have this understanding where it's like, you know what, it's more about just dividing the work well enough for both of us to do it and not particularly based on the aspect or the scope of work.
Do you fight on this stuff? Like, hey, I did more work today, dude. You did.
Actually, I think our friendship really comes into play here because it so happens that sometimes there'll be some personal commitments, or one of us is traveling, the other one, no questions asked, is ready to like step in and be like, okay, you know what, go have your day, I will take care of it today.
We've never, I don't think till
Touch wood.
but I think till date we've never like looked at each other and been like, oh my god, I did so much today and you didn't do anything. Like we've never, and like if one of us, like she said, has to take off, there is not even a why or a what about work, nothing. Listen, we've got it, you go. It's like that.
That's nice, actually. I mean, it also comes with you being friends and understanding.
Yeah, for sure. I think that foundation.
I mean, like even our case, right? Like me and Naresh, we fight every day, dude. Like hey, you're not doing scam. But even though we keep fighting, I mean, it's not something which should extend over that day or that period, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like she said, touch wood. Like for us, we haven't like faced that yet, and I hope we never do.
I mean, the more clients you get, the
Touch
more
wood
work
now.
you get.
You were put nazar on
See,
that.
now Tarun is going at it. He's like, I hope you're fine. So yeah, at the moment, no, we've not had it.
So, one thing I wanted to know about from both of you guys is what's your take on? See, there's so many marketing agencies, right? There are like maybe like thousands of marketing agencies, but there should be some differentiating factor. What you would at least tell to your clients or your prospects, right? So, what is your take on the whole differentiating factor between you guys?
So, for us, okay, when we started, like the major gap that we saw in the industry was one that marketing services are not affordable to everybody. What agencies do is that they go by the industry rates, and that is only feasible for a big client, like for a big company that's already established. Sure, retainers of like 2.5 lakhs for social media a month. But what about the local brands that exist in Bangalore? Like we're looking at like local brands that are around us right now, like small bakeries, small clinics, whatever. Any small company that's around us that can become a brand. So our main objective at that point was to one, bridge that gap, make marketing services available for everyone at a good affordable rate, while giving you services that are not compromised on, and you have a team that is dedicated to you. The second thing was that we realized when when you work with a big full-fledged agency, they have certain people that they have hired, whatever the skill set is, and unfortunately a lot of the employees don't have the time to upgrade on those skill set. They are stuck at what they already know, and they've been hired at that, and they continue at that phase. So for us, it was important that while we had a team that was the core team, we also worked with freelancers, collaborators who have personally taken it as a passion project to upgrade those skills and become better. So now when we have somebody come in, we look at what their requirement is and then deploy the required resources to work on the project.
Okay, so you guys are a lot more flexible.
Correct. It's not the other way around where I have this resource, and if we can fit my resource into your requirement, then we will take up.
So, like for example, a guy. Okay, you can.
Yeah, no. Just to add on to that, it also helps in giving that individualized attention to each particular client and their requirements. So it's not like, okay, I have one developer and he's a good developer, nothing to say anything about him, but the client's vision and his vision is not matching. So we would look for somebody else who is more aligned with what the client requires and what are the needs. Yeah.
For example, I can come with like a 20,000 budget or a 1 lakh budget.
Correct. And we find somebody who fits that for you. And I'm not going to restrict you into working with the team that I've hired and based on, whatever their cost is. So we find someone that's perfect for your requirement. And then I think that's what is our main differentiating factor at the moment.
So yeah, so what I was asking next would be like, so now that we have like a understanding on why you are different and why people would want to work with you guys, so you basically have like a access to a big pool of talents you would match with different clients based on their requirements, right? So I mean, obviously everybody wants like high paying clients, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, that's nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
there's no
Denying that at all.
so, like, are you guys doing anything actively to look for such high-paying clients, or you're happy how it's going as of now?
It's like a ladder, isn't it? So you start off small, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any high paying clients again. So yeah, I mean, it's not like we only work with small business owners, we also work with bigger companies like MNCs.
Right now,
actually.
our the portfolio ranges from like the high paying ones to somebody who's just starting out as well. And for us, it at the moment at least, it's kind of building that portfolio for us and for one.
Basically, we want to diversify our portfolio so
Yeah.
that we somehow have a foot in every industry, not every, most industries at least.
Like we come from our own experience, but that doesn't come under the banner of One Name, right? So right now for us, the main focus is to make sure One Name is known for what it is and the services it provides, and then we look at the monetary bit of it, and that becomes the focus. At the moment for us, it's building that credibility with our clients, actually standing true to what we see for
See,
our
like
company.
we said, we're just 7 months in, so there's a long way to go. So for now, we just want to build that portfolio, and then yeah.
So yeah, like now, I mean, we have talked about a bunch of stuff, to be honest. Now, I just want to know, like, I mean, I get that you're building your portfolio, you're diversifying into different things, you're probably taking smaller clients, to go into newer markets and stuff like that, right? But there will come a point one day where, it's just, as of now, there's two of us, right? Two of you, but there will come a day when a certain threshold you can't go below, right? I mean, I'm sure you've not reached that yet, but there will be a day when I mean, there is a limited time, right? Like you don't have, I mean, you X number of time in a day. Like you can't really keep working all day, right? I mean, that's not why you started a business.
Comes back to what we also the flexibility model of our agency, right? Thank God, like at the moment, we, no matter what the client is, we of course still have a threshold. Just because we're saying we're an affordable agency does not mean if somebody comes in with say 1,000 rupees a budget and we say, yes, we
Yeah, I mean, affordable doesn't mean unrealistic.
Exactly.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
so happens that the expectations are very unrealistic, and we do have to turn them down.
Oh, okay.
But
So-
we still have a threshold. For us, there's when we say threshold, it's just that it's much lesser compared to another agency
A
in
full-fledged
Bangalore that is
agency.
like their retainers, their max that they will go down to is like 1 lakh or 1,50,000 maybe, and that's for like maybe two videos and like one static for a social media retainer, I'm saying. And that in that sense, our retainers are our threshold at least is much lower.
More reasonable is what I like.
More
to say.
reasonable.
More
reasonable.
More reasonable.
Cool. So what is your threshold now? Like,
Like, look, now he wants like upper limits and lower limits, and we like, no.
so tell I am I'm only looking for you know video editing and reels. We are starting to get into like Instagram as a channel. We have not done Instagram till now. So how much would I be spending with that?
Also, it depends on your requirements, because not everybody will need like 4 reels a month or like, I don't know, 10 posts a month or anything.
Strategy differs from brand to brand. What your objective is what really plays the foundation for what your strategy is going to be.
I feel this is a very diplomatic answer.
It's a very
I don't know what you're talking about.
okay, so you don't want to
that's a
talk
very
like this.
exact question you asked. So
Very specific.
Okay. So, what excites you the most now in terms of marketing? Like, what is the biggest excitement that you guys
it's a
have?
nice
or
way
that
of
you
framing what he actually wants to ask.
Yeah. So you just
Yeah.
switched it. I think you just switched that question. What's exciting? I don't know. For me, I think it would be more how brands are focusing more on the consumer and not just selling the product itself. Now you look at what the experience is and really try to connect it to the emotion that the consumer wants to. In the end
It's
of the day,
not just
experience.
sales nowadays.
Yeah, it's not just sales anymore. Now brands are more focused on like building that credibility, building that brand awareness, having that community. I think the aspect of community in marketing right now is something it's really nice, because you see so many brands that are going beyond what they sell and actually building this wholesome community where people come together, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on LinkedIn.
They literally
whatever.
do so many campaigns. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with buy our product. This
It
is
has
your-
nothing. There's
Yeah,
no
it's
sales
just-
Yeah,
angle
it's
to it.
mainly to like.
It's just you're connecting, you're becoming a part of the community itself, and I think that's a change that's really like refreshing, at least, because I'm sure like all of us when we were growing up, all we saw is buy now free 1+1
50% off.
50% off. Like this is all you would read, like it was also salesy. Now it's a lot more. It's more about actually bringing in awareness about important topics that's happening around the world, being the change actually. Like, so I think that shift in brands is
I think the
something
brand
that's-
values are changing. Like,
yeah, brand values and vision.
Yeah, they're thinking a lot more, spending time on like what makes them
Yeah,
who they
yeah.
are.
I think that's helping brands more than just making it the sales angle.
but saying that, I think the whole cancel culture with like one wrong thing a brand can do and then that's it. Their PR team will have a tough time for the next month or two. So that's something that I'm not looking into.
So yeah, like so someone from the brand goes tweet something bad
Yeah.
or
It is. I mean, after that, it's a PR nightmare. So
yeah, we had cases similar like where your client goes and tells something online and like you have to go to
Damage
firefighting
control.
mode like
For us, we've been fortunate enough to work with clients who are very collaborative in nature, where there's a lot of sit down and actually bounce off ideas through each other and then kind of execute it, and not where we just say, okay, we're doing this and we go online, or they just go online by themselves. So I kind of like that about our clients. Like we've been very fortunate about that,
Nice.
where it's been very collaborative, very like we're part of their team. So yeah.
Yeah, that's very lucky to
Oh, really? To
Yeah,
get
touch wood,
wood
mother,
like
everything.
10,000 times, Tara. I swear to God. But yeah.
Yeah, wait, like, so podcast, dude. Like, I'll ask questions.
Have you ever had to deal with such a situation? Reverse
Huh?
question. Have you ever had to deal with such a situation where your client is like,
I mean, obviously, like we have had clients where that guy is not arguing. Like currently, we are having a client where basically Naresh goes on the call and he's a mediator, and the two founders are fighting. Our whole job there is basically those two guys, and he gives them a middle ground. He's like, okay, this is also right, this is also right. Why don't we do both of these things? Then we're like, okay, yeah, Naresh is correct.
we actually do this thing. So every time before a client call, we get on a call and we're like, listen, these are the points we need to put across. Nothing that they say is gonna like budge, and then that's it.
And then we stick strong to like what we've discussed, and then both of us are
Because
feeling
sometimes
the same nail.
some clients have like some idea that's not really.
Everything there, everyone
we
is like,
also-
I'm the marketing expert.
No, we don't put it across like I'm the
No, I'm
marketing.
not saying you. Some clients come with that idea.
They do.
They're
A
like,
lot
I
of
know
them-
marketing. I have seen videos. I follow
Oh my
MOM.
god! Oh my god! This is very relatable.
See, the worst thing is they'll see an Instagram trend. They're like, let's do it. It had nothing to do with their brand. Nothing. It's just because it's trending. They're like, let's do. And we're like, okay, but then what? Like we'll do it.
It leaves nothing for them. Leave like even whether if something comes out of it or not. I think even like to execute
Yeah.
it, there is no scope for execution. But like yet they're very fixated on the idea that it's trending and I want to do it. I want to get onto that wagon, like that wagon. So it's I think
That kind of gets frustrating to explain to them. Like, yeah, it's not gonna work.
Do you guys get annoyed by these real trends? Like new song comes every other day, then suddenly like that's
Sometimes I'm like, why is this audio even trending? Like, what about this audio is why?
I mean, some of them literally have no connection to the audio. It's just because it's trending. It's just playing in the background, and I'm just like,
okay.
So
So basically, you're very annoyed by the trend.
some ones are really fun to
Yeah.
execute, to actually put it out there, but like some of them, I don't know.
it's the audios, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how is this trending? Are you telling me people are sharing this audio so much?
Yes, yeah, especially that Pushpa dance, bro. Like,
Oh my god.
a lot of people are dancing Pushpa.
Oh,
What
no, that's what I'm saying, right? A lot of songs which I'm just like, no, this doesn't make sense. Like, and the kind of clients we work with, it does not go with the aesthetic. It does not go with what they're trying to set for their digital presence. So, like, we don't see the connection there.
Sometimes those conversations can get very heated.
There's a lot of back.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and
There's a lot of back. and forth.
They're like, I want to do Pushpa dance. You're like, not doing that dance.
Fortunately, nobody's wanted to dance, but
Yeah.
there have been other instances.
Give one example, no?
Now you're just like digging.
That's the whole point of the podcast. No?
No, it was a very similar situation like this. The audio has no connection, right? But if
All
you're
that
just-
I know now.
It
Example.
was just
give.
that. It was very simple. It was just going to be a stitched reel where we had to use a trending audio, and the audio just doesn't make sense. So, in that time, you go back and forth, and then she and I are going through like reels after reels, trying to find an audio which matches like what we're trying to do and what the audio they sent was. So, in that sense, there's back and forth. But yeah.
You guys consume a lot of reels, though, as you like, in that you're in the.
Not
You
gonna
know, these
deny
same
it.
marketing professionals are 24/7 working. Like even if you're lying in bed and we're going through reels, for me that's
Yeah,
working.
we are literally like sending each other like, I like this audio, and we like save everything up.
Yeah, like that's working. There's no stopping at that. So you see a post and you're like, randomly there's been nights where 1 o'clock she sent me something and she's like, I think you should do this.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, can you go to sleep? Can we do this tomorrow morning?
No, that keeps happening.
Yeah.
Suddenly, like randomly, I remember we'll be having a drinking session or
Yeah.
some scene, and then we're like suddenly discussing about.
Yeah, we go out so many times thinking, okay, you know what? Enough work. We're not going to talk about work. Next 15 minutes, you're like, oh my god, did you see the message? Oh my god, what's happening?
The same, I kid you not, it's like that same moment where we would have said, let's not talk about work. We immediately get an email, like one thing.
For some reason.
Like, should we open it? And then the next thing you know, both of us have already opened it and we're talking.
No, that I feel that's not really, a marketing thing. that's the whole entrepreneurship.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
really turn off, because I remember that, dude, we filled this board one day, we got drunk, me and Naresh, everybody left. We have filled this entire board.
Oh my
Drunk
god.
sessions.
I was so drunk. I've agreed to some random shit that night. Okay. Next day I'm coming. Hey bro, yesterday I agreed to that.
But maybe no.
Not right.
Yeah.
I did not agree to this.
I think when it's your own business, you're just 24/7 on it. Like there's no stopping, there's no vacation, unless you also have the freedom to like take that
Yeah, that's
time,
a
time when
very
you
big
need
plus
to.
point.
Yeah.
Like, when you need that time off,
Yeah.
talk to your partner and be like, listen, I am losing it. I need,
I need to be out.
I need to be out. I want to spend time with my family,
Yeah.
and that's one.
Yeah, I mean that is for sure. Like you need some time off. I mean,
Otherwise, you're 24/7 on. Like there's
Yeah.
no like.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing about her. First, so we would have finished work, wrapped everything
I'm
up.
worried now.
Yeah, we would have wrapped everything up. And then 10:30 something happens, and then she's like, dude, we need to do this. And then she goes into one crazy spiral, like almost like some, and she's like, oh my god, how will we finish this? How will we do this? How will we do that? And it's always at the most random times. She just has like a moment.
It's not a wake up call. You're lying in bed and you're like. And I have this weird habit when I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm
She's
really
missing
not,
out on
not doing
something.
something and I'm missing out. So then I'm like, okay, wait, let me go through everything again. And then I realize, oh my god, there's so much to do. And then I go into that spiral and then I kind of drag her in. But
I mean, in the beginning, we really faced that a lot where,
yeah.
we did not know how to prioritize personal time
Yeah.
and professional or whatever work time. And that phase was like pretty hard because
Yeah.
we also just started out.
Yeah, we just started out, I think, like even in terms of family, like our personal lives were like full-fledged going on. So we were like, okay, so wait.
We need to
wait a
like
minute.
draw some boundary. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're always there, but some boundaries.
okay, you guys brought up family, like. So how did they take it? Like, are they like very okay with you quitting jobs and like
I think for my mom was pretty kicked when I said I'm starting a company with her. She was just like, yeah, go for it, do it.
That's awesome. Not everybody
For
gets
me,
that.
it was, we started when I had just gotten married. And honestly, my husband's like the biggest supporter. We actually gave him a cute nickname,
Yeah.
QC.
He's part of the
He's
team.
part of the team, okay? He just doesn't get paid, but he's a part of the team.
Yeah, he's our director today.
Yeah, he's the
He's a
director.
director, he helps out everywhere.
So it's like if anything has to go out, like say a big project like
Yeah.
a website or a brochure, we finish it and then we're most excited to show it to him first because we need like a QC, like somebody who just sees it.
Like a third
That's-
person perspective, you know?
Yeah, third person perspective. Like
I mean, yeah, you
unbiased.
do need perspective. sometimes.
Yeah, so his is like an unbiased perspective. So then we send it to him and then that's how his name
So do you get annoyed sometimes? It's like you work hard and you show him something, it's like shit, dude. Like what?
said that though, you know?
Yeah.
He gives very like constructive criticism if you ask me.
Yeah.
And honestly,
By
it's
then,
worked out
by the
in
time
the
he
end.
would have given that feedback, she and I would have also been like, something
Something
is
is
off here.
off,
Like it's
no?
not working out. And then he just kind of puts
That's
it
the
into
final
words.
nudge,
Yeah.
and then we're like, okay, let's get this changed.
Yeah. So that's also been it.
Nice, you're using family as QC or re-employment.
Okay, I think for us the biggest support was like with family. Like when
Yeah.
I just quit my job. Like if you go from like a monthly income to like nothing. Like initially, obviously, what
I
can
mean,
you
you're
expect?
broke. You're like,
Yeah,
your social
you're
life
actually
is
broke.
brutal.
So I think there is no savings. I'm sorry, I had no savings at this point. But I think having that support from like her family, my family, it just pushed us. Like every time we would, you have that self doubt sometimes, and you're like, are we doing this right? Should we even be doing this?
That every weekend after dinner.
Yeah, you get it, right?
To this day, we still
We
have those
still have
doubts,
those
and we're
doubts.
like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what if this doesn't go?
But I think
through?
somewhere family and like each other, somewhere it comes in, and then you get that little push, and then you say, okay, you know what, I can do this. And I think for an entrepreneur, that's the biggest.
No, it definitely also helps you to have two people, right? Like,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Imagine the guy who's a single founder, dude, and
Oh my god, man, I
he's
can't
going
do it.
nuts on his own.
There's no way I think I would have done this like, without her. Like, there's no chance. Like, I really don't know how people start companies by themselves because I'm like, there's sometimes I don't want to take a decision and I don't know what I wanted to choose. And then I look at them, please do this. Like, I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of single founders. They're like, dude, I'm jealous, bro. Like, you have someone whom you can go and, rant at least. Like, you need that ranting session, bro.
Meeting sessions are so important.
I don't think our clients should know this, but a lot of the time goes in ranting.
I mean, you have to you can't let it on the client.
Yeah, I think it's chats. It's ridiculous, but there's a lot of rant. But you need that, like you said. That's,
You need to vent out, like,
Then again, when you're already friends, you have that extra
comfort.
Yeah.
extra comfort to just be
This is more of a
so.
studio.
Yeah. Maybe not the same language, but yeah.
No, just maybe. What is he saying? What exactly did she
Huh?
say? Huh? Yeah. That.
Yeah, did she really say that?
Yeah.
I mean, we have also had some clients. They're like, okay, now we have paid you over, no? Like, my job done.
Yeah.
No collaboration. Like, once money given, over. Now give result.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, dude, you're not buying one chocolate here.
Yeah. When it's like one transaction.
Yeah, that's it over.
No, have some call with me. Or
Yeah. No, that's what we were saying, right? Like a lot of the clients, it's very unrealistic. Like the expectations is very, I've given you money, like now I need like 1,000 leads. Like I don't have control over Meta or like Google. Like we can do as much as we can, and we can figure out the formulas as much as we can. But it's always, it's forever evolving and it's forever changing.
Is this
So-
algorithm also changing? I don't know, almost every day. It's just a big gamble.
I think that's the
So
biggest part of our job, handling those expectations and trying to,
Subdue
just
them,
subdue
like-
them a little bit. Yeah.
Get them like realistic, set those realistic expectations.
Yeah.
no, you guys. So one more thing I wanted to talk about is like how you guys are dependent on channels, right? Like there's like Instagram, for example. There's like a very big channel for you guys, especially the whole Reels thing. So that keeps changing, right? Like the algos and whatnot. Suddenly something other goes viral, then other thing. So how do you like cope up with that? Like it's like a cat and mouse before you like.
No coping
It
with
is
it.
a
You
big
just
gamble.
live with
Even
it.
this is a big gamble.
Yeah.
You just put out an idea and hope it works.
I think with Instagram, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
it's a proper gamble because you just roll the dice and you never know what's gonna go viral and what's
Because
not.
it's happened so many times where like something that you think will actually do really well
Yeah.
will really flop, okay? And then something you just put out as a filler post and then that just
That
goes
does
viral.
really well,
Always. So many times this has happened. We're like, why?
Like even when we decide calendars for our clients, say specifically Instagram, a video content like a idea topic or whatever that worked this month. So we're like, okay, so it worked this month. It should work better next month as well, right? So we try to work around that same content bucket, and we realized it doesn't. Like the next month, it's out.
It's
it doesn't
banged.
even do as good as it would normally do, like the posts on the channel. And then we're like, okay, so there's something off here. Then we realized it's not even about the strategy at that point. It's just the platform is that volatile.
Ever changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean,
Explaining that to the client is a whole different topic.
oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to, right? Like,
I mean, are they understanding that, dude, it's not in my hand? Like, I can't go make you.
It's not
We
always
will say
that.
that also.
Yeah.
Like, see, now we can tell you saying it's not in my hand. But at the end of the day, that entire Instagram handle is in our hand. Like the brand's awareness digitally is one name's responsibility. What we do, what we put out, the ideas we put out, we'd have to take responsibility for them.
So it all basically comes down to managing expectations. Like, I'm like, daily viral is not happening.
Correct. No. I don't think that. I think like
It
one post
happens,
goes viral
yeah.
and then you're like, okay, I'm good with that for now. It's okay. Few months later,
Later
we'll
we'll
see.
see.
and pray that
Pray.
one more thing goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to be honest, even for us, I mean, we don't use Instagram as a channel. We use LinkedIn, right? We have had cases where stuff has gone viral, and then like we are like, bro, why did this go viral? No, the client is like, okay, I want it's very nice, amazing stuff.
Next month also, let's do the same
Like,
thing.
okay, what did I do? Like,
Yeah,
what did I do?
what did I do is a good question. And I don't think we have answers.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, yeah, we are on those whims of the platforms. But then there is also like, some give and take there, like, like.
See, there's certain
Certain
things that are
practices.
controllable. Yeah, there's certain things that are controllable, like making sure that at least once you handle an account for a period of time, you know what that engagement looks like, or you know what the community is like. So you know what they like and don't. But viral is something that's unknown. But the basic engagement and making sure the profile reaches the right audience over a period of time, that can still remain consistent. And I think that comes from consistency in your strategy and how you execute as well. So those are things we can control. And that's what we've been trying to explain to our clients as well. There are certain things in our control, otherwise we're puppets of these platforms.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we did talk about a lot of things. There's one topic I want to bring.
Oh no.
I know. This is definitely-
No, I am bringing it. Come on. Yeah. Now we were talking about trends and all that stuff, right? Like, so what's your take on the whole AI thing?
So, really like to not comment on this, but I think we've had this discussion also, and I think for us, it's as an agency, one thing that really stands out to us is the human connection in marketing. And I think that's the power of marketing. Whatever you say through one line or through whether it's a brochure, website, or social media, you're conveying a message, you're conveying an emotion. And I think that's what's missing with AI. No matter how productive it is and how much it helps you save time and how much it helps you evolve as a company technologically, it will still bring you 10 steps back with regard to human connection. And I think if you're selling a product or an experience to someone, you need to have that. It's only going to give you something that it understands, what has been fed into it. And that's the limitation to AI, to any technology. It cannot go beyond that. So you can never bring in emotion. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think
for some reason the clients that we have worked with also kind of against it. I mean, they keep asking us, do you guys use ChatGPT? Do you guys use this AI? Do you guys and then they seem much more calmer and happier.
We refrain from that. Like, even if it means, I know through AI tools you can even get on a website in no time. But that does not, how do you feed in the 10 different things that a client is trying to explain to you with a lot of passion for that project, with a lot of, hope and like a lot of objectives that they have? How do you feed that into AI? It can't be a prompt. It's not a simple one paragraph prompt. It's a lot of, brainstorming, a lot of each person's perspective, our team coming together, their different experiences, skill sets. And that's when that final project, when it does finish, it just seems so much more thought of and like actually given some attention to. So I think,
Okay.
yeah, like,
I
know,
feel like he has differing views.
What are your thoughts though?
See, my thoughts, I would say, we are a pro AI agency. Like, we talk about automation and AI. So it is there in our sales pitch. Like, when we go on a call, we tell we are automating a lot of stuff for you. Like, for example, one of our pitches is like, so we do lead gen, right? So one of our pitches is like, your sales guys, they spend close to 70 to 60% of their time in prospecting rather than sitting on calls and prospect, like, talking to the client. That's what they're paid to do. But they research, they reach out to people, they do a lot of stuff, right? So we automate that part of things with the help of AI systems, and it's not something which we have built, but with the help of existing AI, we automate that part so that you get to focus on what is important for you.
No, I think I think what it comes down to, like, I'm sure you'd agree, I think it comes down to what your industry is, like what work you're trying to do. Like, for the work you guys do, I think AI is a very big part of it, like you said. But for us,
It's more
where
creative driven.
yeah,
So
where creativity is the core focus of everything, I think that's where AI doesn't fit in as much. Like, yes, we can use AI maybe for smaller minuscule things, like minuscule tasks, but otherwise I don't think it's the one thing that we want to even integrate into our, the way we pitch our agency to someone or the work we do. Like, I think it comes down to industry. In the end of the day, whatever work you do, if it fits in, great, it helps you out.
Yeah, I
That's
so
mean,
I
why-
basically agree to disagree.
yeah, that topic's always been that. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
we have
think-
fought before also on this. So
yeah, so many times. And I think not fought. We didn't
Healthy argument.
yeah, this is a nice way of elegant way of putting it.
healthy discussion. But yeah, so I think it's just there's never going to be right or wrong with AI. I think you just need to see where it fits for your brand or your company or the kind of work you do. If it fits, great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Like, we're not pro or against it. We don't see it fitting in for us. That's it.
For the clientele that we have.
Yeah, or the clientele that we have. So.
Yeah, they kind of look down upon usage of it.
No, they don't look down upon
No,
it.
they just don't want that, because a lot of clients also look at it as, we don't want something that's just generated and it's very generic, like she said. There needs to be thought put into it, a lot of
Also,
love
the
and care.
campaigns that we work on is more creative. So I think with AI, correct me if I'm wrong, so whatever has been input, like from the back end, only that it can generate and then tell you some answers or give you some.
Yeah, I mean that is kind of true. Because I mean it's evolving, right? It's like it's bigger than the website boom, like the World Wide Web. It's as big as that. So whatever limitations you guys are talking about, I see that happening in, like, you know, emotion, love, connect, all of that. Probably not, like, maybe a year down the line, you know, like.
No, so okay, if you're talking about AI, the first thing that we were all introduced to was probably robotics, right? And this was back in when we were, I think, like primary school or whatever, when we first had like the whole idea of a robotic human come into the picture. And everyone said, oh, another 10 years, a robot can feel everything you feel, can say, can respond exactly to what, you know, that conversation is, and it's a flow. But I think we're in 2024 right now, and as much as a robot can look like a human, and you can feed in commands to say, oh, if this one says this, you respond back like this. But that emotion is still fed into it. It's not a natural response, and that can never happen.
It's true. So
see, human to human also, there's so many variations of every emotion you feel. So a robot can, I think, in my perspective, a robot can only feel so much.
Yeah,
you know,
there's always going to be that limitation, and I think that's why, like, there were a couple of articles that came out as well that a lot of like marketing agencies also will go out of jobs. Not really. I'm a strong believer that, like, I don't think you can kick marketing agencies out of jobs, or you can kick marketing professionals out of jobs, because what we bring to the table is our own creativity and our own thoughts and our own experiences that are put into our work. There's nobody like manipulating that. So, and my creativity is very different from hers. Like, how she pictures something visually is very different from what I picture. And I think when, like, for example, with our work also, when both of us come together, that visual output is completely different.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think that's a limitation that's always going to be there, regardless of how, and it's great how it's evolved. The industry it's brilliant where AI is right now. It's just, I'm very confident that as long as a brand values that human element in what they're selling and the experience they're selling, they're always going to value what a marketing professional does. Whether an intern or whether a co-founder of an agency, I think we're always going to be very relevant in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should park this for now.
Yeah, maybe another session, another offline session.
Yeah, no, we can do an online session only on
another
AI.
podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like there are so many things
It's
I
a
can talk
never-ending
about, but we
topic.
can keep going. Like,
Yeah.
they should agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
We
yes.
leave it at that.
We leave it at that, and then
Yeah. So, see, one of the things I wanted to talk about was how we use LinkedIn as a channel, right? So, you believe it or not, most of our clients come through LinkedIn. Whether it be outreach or us putting up posts or creating events and stuff like that. And for example, now LinkedIn is in the process of launching something very similar to Shorts or Reels.
Right.
Yes, like YouTube content and, you know, Reels content, TikTok content is going to start on LinkedIn also.
I think every platform is becoming every platform at this point, right?
it's also the boom of what is that short form content. Yeah, it's like taking over. Every platform has it now. So I don't see LinkedIn why it's falling behind.
Yeah, dude, the other day I was seeing Netflix on your phone has Shorts.
Yeah.
Also-
No, like every platform is now just delving into what the other one is doing. Like I think Instagram, I forgot the app name, where you basically take a real-time picture of right now,
Oh yeah,
and then
so
you
it's like
post it.
Yeah, so you take like a front camera and a
I
back
forgot
camera.
what it's
thing.
called.
Realme or something? Was it?
Realme
What
is
is
that
it?
phone? No.
You know what
No, there is.
everyone knows what.
There is an app.
So we'll restart this, okay? So
What is that
basically,
app called?
there's this app where you take a picture real time, like right now, and then you post it as is, no filters, nothing. Now Instagram is launching a same feature where you take a picture, there's no filters. You cannot edit it, you cannot manipulate it, you cannot touch your gallery. It has to be real time,
Oh.
and you post it.
So I can't just,
So you send it to your friends. Basically, I can just send you a real-time picture of this that I'm doing a podcast right now, no filters, right? So it's at this point, it's like every platform is everything. There's no differentiation. You only look at in terms of consumer, where your consumers lie. Like for example, like for your company, I think LinkedIn is where your consumers lie, your clients lie. For us, it would be more Instagram because we're looking at the most smaller local businesses in Bangalore. So we're trying to tap into those. They're not going to be on LinkedIn. So I think it's just understanding where your target audience lies. Otherwise, every channel is
The same.
everything, right?
yeah, I mean, it's also the scale of things, right? Because I'm pretty sure the top D2C brands and all, they're pretty much active on LinkedIn.
Correct.
But the smaller businesses, not yet. Yeah. But then, like, once they become big, say if they get a funding, then suddenly they're like, I'll do LinkedIn post. And
See, but this is sorry.
We do handle LinkedIn for our clients, just probably not as full-fledged as you guys. So it's just
Yeah. We've handled LinkedIn for our clients, and also like when I was working on the client side, now I worked with like the big developers, like big real estate developers of Bangalore and India, in fact. But I kid you not, like I was handling the account internally in the in-house team, and we wouldn't even look at the DM. So even if an agency reached out to us, for example, I would never even bother because I'm doing it. Why would I even look at the messages? And if there was any message from an investor or anything, those would get forwarded. The rest of it would be deleted. So I'm saying, I think it's so subjective,
Yeah.
like every platform, like how a brand deals with it. Like my manager wouldn't care, like my CMO didn't care what inquiries were coming in through LinkedIn unless it was a customer or it was an investor. Everything else was ignored.
okay.
So
wouldn't even reach them to be
yeah, it
honest.
wouldn't even reach my CMO. I was strictly told just do not bother.
Filter everything
Yeah,
out.
because
Just send what
if
she's
she had to work
interested
with
in.
an agency, she was somebody, and so was the CEO. They would work with people who they already knew or they had heard of their work through someone else. Like word of mouth is still such a big deal. No matter how much we say, oh, ads on Instagram, yes, you get clients from there. But I think the networks you build, the connections you build by socializing, going out, meeting other people, meeting other founders, that's where your real clientele can come from.
Okay.
That's at least my, I don't know, like,
Yeah, agreed.
I think because your credibility is already built, right? There's not a lot of pitching to do. Somebody already knows who you are, what you do, what your brand stands for, what your company stands for. It just comes down to, can you fit my requirement?
I mean, to this day, most
Yeah.
of our
all
clientele
are,
has
yeah.
come from word of mouth, references.
Most of our highest paying clients are through referrals. But, very, sometimes, like, for example, I would say 70% all are through referrals, I would say. Like, the
Yeah.
who are
Yeah,
paying-
yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is that when we ran ads also for our own Instagram page, a lot of the inquiries that you would get, it would stop at, it would come so close to the conversation about commercials.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then
And
there's
then
such a
that's it.
mismatch between like what you are trying to sell and what they want, because they think they want that, again, like I said, the 1,000 rupee budget kind of clients, right?
yeah.
And it doesn't fit the threshold, and there's no way we're going to go down that much. It's not going to happen. So I think word of mouth helps because you're looking at like-minded people already. Like when we talk to our friends, they're co-founders of something else, we're already in that range. Here or there, plus minus, but you can figure it out from there. These gaps are much higher, and then our ad is just, there's no return on that investment. So we're a little bit safer on how we play with our ads and so on. But mostly,
Fair. Okay.
yeah.
Nice. So you do run ads, you've tried.
We have tried,
Yeah.
and
At the moment, we haven't done.
it's been a while
Yeah.
actually.
Because now we're also like, we have our own like rooster and our own clients that we're working with that keeps us pretty.
Our
occupied
calendars
for-
are pretty,
yeah,
pretty
tight right
packed.
now.
okay.
I think for now we're just maybe gonna wait it out a little bit, and then again,
But so what's your, like, the goal, like, expansion, you know, like obviously you would want more clients, more people with you, more employees, big office.
Yeah, for sure. We in fact spoke about this the other day, and we were like, where do we see
Like day
ourselves in
before
like
or
5 years?
something,
Yeah,
just-
day before.
Yeah, this is something you ask, you know, people when you're hiring. Right?
Yeah, but we asked each other this. And
Yeah.
we were like, so where do you see the company in 5 years? And I mean, she can take the answer, and then I.
We both had the same
Pretty
answer,
much the
pretty
same.
much, yeah.
So it was one is that of course we want like a nice office somewhere, CBD, Indranagar, a nice
Aesthetics coming
cute
into the
loft
picture.
type office. Yeah, very aesthetic, very nice. That kind of that's one. Then you
Nice,
have obviously a
growing
nice
young team.
maybe like we're looking at like say 50 plus people. Like that's
Okay, you meant
the team size.
team
Yeah,
size.
we're talking about
I
team
was
size. We're very
like,
specific.
50 plus.
No,
No,
team
we're
size,
very-
like,
very
in every
specific.
department, including everything, like
Yeah.
50 plus.
Like that.
Yeah,
I
like
thought-
50 to 100
Yeah.
people.
I
like
thought we
a-
were talking about age for a second. I'm like, what?
No.
No.
Age
No.
doesn't, I don't care. Like, we have
No.
worked with, like, literally to college graduates to.
Somebody who's a senior
Yeah.
in a company, like so, like we said, the collaborators, right? So they're all people who are say directors, creative directors in like agencies or like in working in the client side as almost assistant managers for marketing and so on. So that's the thing that we were talking to you about, that because you're bringing that kind of experience for the
That kind of
budget that the
talent.
client is coming. Yeah, that kind of talent.
Hmm.
So they know their worth, and if we are getting them on board, then the client also should be a little.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys spoke about having a nice, cute office, or you know, in central.
Cute office. I like
Yeah.
the
Cute office.
Cute office. Those are not the words that.
Something stuff like that. Okay, whatever. But basically, what I want to know is like, are you expanding to different international markets? Is that something you have in plans?
Yeah.
It's actually in motion.
Yeah. So we, like we touched upon, we do work with local brands in Bangalore. That's our focus, of course, when we started. Now we have a lot of our clients who are based out of the US, and that's a market that we've tapped into now, fortunately, and we're very happy about that. So yeah, we're obviously looking to kind of grow that and then move into other markets as well. But I think the strategy for us is always going to be one market at a time, and then go from there instead of going everywhere and then not being able to.
It was just an opportunity that came our way, and it was too good to let
Yeah.
go. So we're like, okay.
Nice, yeah. Yeah,
Because it was a big leap of faith for us, because
Yeah.
we were so new, and then we were like, oh my god, are we going to be able to do this, execute it? But
We've always spoken
that's
about that client. Like the first conversation
Mm.
we had, both of us was so petrified. Like I know for a fact we were just trembling. But the fact that again, I think that leap of faith that they took in us also pushed us to believe so much, because it was initial days of when we started, and I think you need that one client who
We had
just
like 2 clients. at
say,
that
you know
point,
what?
I think.
yeah.
We had like 2 clients.
One or two maybe.
Yeah.
We were so new, and they were like, "No, it's fine. We trust what you girls are saying. Let's just do it. You guys do what you have to do." And from one scope, it kind of has evolved into a lot of different things now. And I think that trust that keeps building with them has just been, it's been so reassuring for us that we're doing it right and we're doing it for good. So
yeah, that's nice actually. I mean, to be honest, we started international first.
yeah. Oh yeah, you guys okay?
And
Right.
then you guys dwelled back here.
Okay, let's see India also, right? Like, so that's how we came into having Indian clients, and so till now, I mean, most of our clients are Indian as of now, but we started international, and now we are good in the Middle East market. That's a very nice market.
What would you say is like the biggest differentiating factor between clients in India and like clients abroad?
See, I would say it's the work time ethic, the whole
Yeah.
They're very-
talking about.
Yeah.
So because see, I have a client who is like, we have like a fixed call, say on Tuesday 1 o'clock, and say for whatever reason we don't make it to that call, right? It just gets pushed to the next week.
That's it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's an understanding.
There is an understanding, and
Yeah.
there is a clear understanding. They don't call me on Sundays. They don't call me on Saturdays.
Oh my
They don't call
god!
me after
I think we
work.
need to do another podcast about this. Like,
But Indian clients, I'm talking like morning, night, 1 o'clock.
yeah.
there's no time. There's no time.
Saturday, Sundays, it's just like,
Holidays,
hello, can you get this
festivals.
done?
Also, I feel the kind of effort that we put in, right? Like the abroad people, they feel like, oh, they're putting so much effort.
So much of appreciation, right?
So much appreciation. appreciation.
Yeah.
The clients that we were talking about, like every email that we would receive, the smallest task done, and we would get like this few words of like, appreciation, like, oh, thank you
Encouragement,
guys,
yeah.
that's such a good job done, and like
Everybody loved it.
everybody loved it. Like we
It's-
don't even have to ask for it. I feel like with Indian clients, we're constantly asking for
Did you like it?
validation.
Did you like
Did you
it?
like it?
Is
Did you
there
show it to
anything more we can
Yeah.
do?
Like, did you show it to people? What did they say? What are the opinions? And I think that's what we've noticed.
Yeah,
Like the appreciation comes very organically and very selflessly. Like there's no I feel like here everyone's like, if I appreciate too much, then these guys will take me for a ride.
Yeah.
That mindset is also
Mindset,
there. Yeah. So they're like, it was good. It was okay. So
Next time, let's not do this.
maybe we can do this better. Just because we want to leave that one little negative
So
thought
it's
in your
always
head.
like, da-da-da, it was really good, guys.
Yeah.
But next time,
There's always a but.
can do this.
yeah.
yeah, there's always a but when it
But.
comes to Indian clients, is what we have noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now that you started working, you will see a lot more
Yeah.
differences.
Oh, we see the changes. Like we go from one call with like the broad client, like the next call with the Indian client, and we're like, you could see the drastic change in that conversation and how that flows, But it's been it. I mean, we have no complaints. We love all our clients.
Yeah.
We're very appreciative.
Just putting it out there.
Just FYI.
Yeah, they pay you money. You have to.
It's
No,
not
it's
just
not that. Like
money
you said,
also.
they're really nice clients. At the end of the day, they're still like collaborative
Yeah,
nature,
yeah.
and like
It's not just the money also.
You're not saying this just for podcast, no?
I would say this offline also. You know that we will say this offline. No, I think whoever we've crossed paths with, clients, people we've even pitched to,
Vendors.
everybody, like
Everyone is
vendors, collaborators, all of them. Like, thankfully, we've met some amazing people who have
Yeah.
helped us grow in our own journey with
We
the
learned
company.
so much.
Yeah, we've learned a lot.
so much.
So, yeah, we're forever grateful. Like whoever we've crossed paths with, like that has changed.
Okay, nice. I mean, I'm just gonna. This is a really nice, whole session we talked about. I'm pretty sure we can have like multiple sessions.
Dude,
Yeah.
We're definitely not
We
doing
already
AI.
have two
No,
topics
we're
now.
not doing AI. I'm out.
We
I'm
have
not
two
here.
No,
topics.
AI debate is a separate thing. Like, like I would have, like there's no one in my team now.
Your co-founder has to join.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a debate.
Then we
Don't be a podcast.
Yeah.
We'll have a debate table and all that. We'll start talking.
Oh my lord, is this still a podcast? Yeah.
Yeah,
But thank you for having us. Like we really enjoyed this.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
We
Hopefully
hope.
we actually do this again.
Yeah. For sure.
Okay, so thank you guys for tuning into our first podcast. It was fun talking to these guys. I'm sure you guys have fun.
Likewise.
Same. We hope to be doing more of these for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'll call you again for the AI thing.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Not the anything. Any other topic here.
And I think we'll have like a lot more founders on our podcast going ahead. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Always wanted to say that.
Dream come true.
Yeah. Thank you guys.